The Independent Living Center of the North Shore and Cape Ann, Incorporated is a service and advocacy agency run by and for persons with disabilities who live or work on the North Shore and Cape Ann in the following municipalities: Beverly, Danvers, Essex, Gloucester, Hamilton, Ipswich, Lynn, Lynnfield, Manchester, Marblehead, Melrose, Middleton, Nahant, North Reading, Peabody, Reading, Rockport, Rowley, Salem, Saugus, Stoneham, Swampscott, Topsfield, Wakefield, and Wenham. We serve people of all ages. We serve people with all types of disabilities. We believe in consumer control over our own lives. We believe in claiming our freedom to take risks, make mistakes, and to learn at our own pace with the right tools and supports. We work individually and collectively to make the world accessible for all. We know that most of the world is only temporarily able-bodied. We know that our voice joined with other voices is our most powerful strength. ILCN-SCA provides the 5 federally mandated services of an independent living center. 1. Information and referral. 2. Independent living skills development. 3. Peer counseling. 4. Advocacy. And 5. Transition.
Hello, I'm Mary Margaret Moore, and I have the honor to be the Executive Director of the Independent Living Center of the North Shore and Cape Ann. We are the service and advocacy agency run by and for people of all ages with all types of disabilities who live or work or want to live or work on the 25 communities of the North Shore and Cape Ann in Massachusetts. That's from Melrose to Rockport. We come out of a federal mandate started from the Disability Rights Organization and movement back in the early 70s, where we have as our motto as a disability rights independent living movement, nothing about me without me. And we'll help guide you because we're people living with disabilities who know how to navigate the cultural, architectural, communication, and other bureaucratic barriers that prevent those of us living with disabilities to get what we need to live the lives that we choose. We serve any person, any age, with any type of disability. If you're a parent of a child who has a disability label, receives special needs services, special education services, we can help guide you with what your rights as the parent is for helping your son or daughter to receive what it is they need for the right education for their life to be independent as they choose for themselves till they can become healthy adults. If you're a person who's living in a group home or a shelter or a nursing home and you have a disability and you want to be more independent, please call us and we'll help you find out what your options are and how you can move to potentially a different setting where you have more control over your daily routines and activities, and you have more say over who provides you with what services and where those are located. If you're a senior who also is living with disabilities, we have access to all kinds of information about services for you as a person living with disabilities, and as part of our Aging Disability Resource Consortium, the Greater North Shore, a way for you to get access to a wide array of elder services through our partners in that consortium. If you're a friend, a neighbor, you don't know what's going on, or a social worker in a human service agency, and you're wondering what might be available, give us a call. Or if you feel that you're being discriminated against in terms of your life as a person living with a disability, can't get access to the right parking in your housing, or you want to get a job and you don't know whether you should disclose whether or not you have a disability, or you're working and you need a reasonable accommodation, we can help guide you as to how to have your rights be known to you and how to get things to meet your needs under the state and federal laws as well. We also do a variety of different advocacy. We want to make sure that all 25 communities on the North Shore and Cape Ann are fully inclusive. We've recently worked with the City of Salem with its change in its ordinance for inclusion of those who are transgender to ensure that they are not discriminated against anywhere within the City of Salem in terms of public accommodations. Just know that we're here to help you and others that you know, those who have disabilities now or in the future, and knowing that disability is a part of life, to figure out what's available to help you live as fully and independently as you choose. That's the Independent Living Center of the North Shore Cape Ann.
My name is Midge DeWicki. I was injured 9 years ago in 2005, April 10th. What happened is I fell off a porch. I fell 5 feet, landed on my chin, broke my neck, left me a C5, C6 quadriplegic. And when I was first injured and came home from the hospital, I didn't know which way to turn. A friend of mine directed me to the Independent Living Center and said maybe they could give me some direction. As I went into the transition period of living as a regular person to living as a person with a disability, what happened is they actually hooked me up with a peer mentor or a peer counselor, I guess it would be called. And they told me how to go about looking into financial aid for putting an addition on or putting a ramp on. Also some kind of assistive technology, such as Dragon Naturally Speaking, where I could use a computer. Other things like a adaptive telephone and various other things, directing me to the Easter seals, maybe to get some kind of door openers, all different things. They also gave me the opportunity to meet different people who are in similar situations or had similar disabilities. They also offered support groups, which I could go to, and also various social events. Since that time, I've been doing many things. I try to volunteer a whole bunch of different places to give back to the community. Not only do I give back, but they give so much more back to me. I right now volunteer at Leahy Clinic in Burlington, volunteer at Spalding Rehab in Salem, and also at Spalding Rehab in Boston. I'm on various boards, one of which is the Independent Living Board, where I serve as the president. I also serve on the Disability Commission for the town of Saugus, the Affordable Housing Trust Company, Trust Commission, and also on the Board of Directors for the Listening Place, which is a counseling center, and the Board of Directors for the Spinal Cord Injury Association. So as you can see, I have many various interests. And this year again, I have the privilege of serving as the Independent Living Center's board president. On October 22nd of 2014, we did have our annual meeting, at which time the voting membership had a chance to vote for the board members. This year we were at capacity. We did have people that were coming in to serve as on the board. We had so many people applying that we could only take so many. Now what we do on the board is we ensure that each of the committees keep going, it's such as the fundraising committee, the board development committee, and a couple of others, one of which is called the Legislative Breakfast Committee. That takes place every year in May, at which time we have different various legislators that attend this breakfast. What we do is we have them all come, they have a chance to speak, and we have a chance to speak. This way here they could tell us what they think the Independent Living Center is for, and we tell them what we actually do to keep them informed so that the funds keep flowing in. Of course, you know, when you're injured, nobody expects to be injured at this capacity. And life is a really long journey. And on this such journey, it helps when you have a place like the Independent Living Center. As the road gets so bumpy, at least there's that place that can smooth it out a little for you.
Hello, my name is Sean McDuff. I'm the Deputy Director here at the Independent Living Center of the North Shore in Cape Ann. I joined the agency in 1990 and I've been here ever since, working on disability rights advocacy and providing services to people with disabilities of all ages and all disabilities. When I think about what the agency means to me, I think about all people with disabilities and information that we need to find out in order to live as independently as possible. When I was young, I got involved with the Independent Living Center in Boston to be able to learn about personal care attendance. And when I first went to that agency, it was even eye-opening for me going into an agency and seeing other people with disabilities guiding other folks with disabilities. I just thought, what a great idea, and what a useful service that is. And that gave me the interest in coming here and sharing my experiences to be able to guide other folks to help them to be as productive as they could be. I wanted to spend a few moments to talk about one of the very important advocacy projects, All People Accessible Business. As a person with a disability and with a mobility impairment, I always want to know, what I'm up against when I'm going to go out to a doctor's office or a restaurant or a sporting event. And through our project, what we're trying to do is to develop an online accessibility database that people with disabilities can look at to find out how accessible a particular business is. Through our project, we've done about 8 or 9 surveys. The places that we surveyed include restaurants like the Adriatic Restaurant in Fantasy Island. We've also done surveys with North Shore Elder Services and the North Shore Career Center, and all of those results can be viewed on our 8PAB website. When our volunteers conduct accessibility surveys at businesses, the areas that we're concerned about are the parking, the entrances, the mobility within the restaurant. We also took a look at restrooms. We also look at the turnstiles and counters for transactions to make sure that people can take full advantage of all the activities and services and products available at those businesses. It's a real in-depth survey. We do a great job to take all small details into account and provide the business owner and the community with accurate information. Our other advocacy group that we're very proud of is our Community Access Advocacy Team, or CAT for short. And that group works with volunteers on improving community accessibility and inclusion of people with disabilities in the community. Through that group and through our efforts, we were able to inspire another local advocates who work in their own communities now and encourage and work toward advocating to make the community accessible for all.
I'm Jerry Halberstadt. I'm a consumer. I've been working for several years on the problem of bullying in subsidized housing that affects seniors and people living with disability, and I'm the coordinator of the Stop Bullying Coalition. I've been trying for several years as a consumer, as an advocate, to find a way to put a stop to the harassment and bullying that takes place in subsidized housing. It impacts terribly on seniors and people living with disability, and there seems to be no relief, nowhere to turn. One day, I was invited to speak to the CAT group at the Independent Living Center, and I walked out of there feeling, these people understand me, and I felt welcomed as a person, as a consumer, and as an advocate. It gave me wings. My work with Mary Margaret Moore and all the people at the center has given a tremendous boost to this advocacy effort. I had doors open to me that I never even knew existed. So now we are hoping to pass a bill that will create a legislative study commission on this problem of bullying in subsidized housing. It's the first of its kind in the country, and a crucial part of this development is the fact that I've been able to work with many important groups who are advocating for seniors and people with disability in the Commonwealth, and with Mary Margaret and Sean and the people at the Independent Living Center.
Hi, my name is Tom Muxey, and I'm a volunteer and member of the Independent Living Center of the North Shore and Cape Ann. My involvement with the ILC-NSCA has been on two committees. One is the Community Access Advocacy Team, where we advocate for rights and funding for all the ILCs throughout the state for better living conditions for persons with disabilities. And the other is through the All People Accessible Business Program, where we go out and we survey businesses and make recommendations on how they may better improve access in their business for persons with disabilities. The purpose of the Home Modification Loan Program is really to help persons with disabilities remain in their home so that they would not have to leave the home and maybe go into a facility or a nursing home where the quality of care may not be the same as they would get if they were able to stay in their own home. Since I built the house in 1990, the modifications that we had at the time were just modifications that barely made it accessible for me because that was all that would fit in the budget. Fast forward to years later, once I heard about the Home Modification Loan Program, decided to work with a contractor and a cabinet maker to use the funds that were available through the Home Modification Loan Program to put in my dream kitchen and my dream bathroom and finally get all the bells and whistles that I've wanted since the beginning. So I had put down an adjustable shelf for one of the main cabinets where I could actually pull the shelf down onto the countertop, so I could not only reach the first shelf, but I could reach the second shelf. I think it's one of the best modifications that I have in the kitchen. I use it all the time. When I show it to other people, they're like, that's unbelievable. They've never seen anything like it. I think it's really cool. Once I found out about the Home Modification Loan Program, I contacted a caseworker who made it very easy to fill out the form. Some of it was income information, and also had to submit proposals and estimates from the contractors on the work that needed to be done. And really from there, once the work began, then payments were made in phases as the construction work went along until a final payment was made once an inspection was made and all the work was confirmed that it was done and satisfactory. If the Home Modification Loan Program is something that you feel may help you to remain in your home, then I would suggest calling the Independent Living Center of the North Shore and Cape Ann and talk to one of their peer guides. I'm sure their happy and friendly staff would be more than willing to assist you with forms and get you going on the program.
As folks living with limb loss, we know only too well how life can change quickly, and tasks and activities of daily living can become a challenge when they came so easily before. Learning to adapt to these changes often be frustrating and overwhelming, but knowing that there's a place to go, to call, to depend on, like the ILC, means so much to so many. And as such, you give hope to so many who have given up and may not know where to turn for help. I can tell you that without people like you, our voices would drift away and fade in the distance, and no one would ever hear our cries for equality and fairness. Thank you for coming to our meeting, and thank you for your continued support and compassion for everyone who lives with a disability.
When I came to the center back in 1998, it had already been in existence since 1987. And they had as their logo a sailboat. We're in Salem, Massachusetts, Shalom, City of Peace, and our office happens to be right on the water. But I've been a sailor, and when I saw that sailboat logo, I said, we need a tagline to go with it. Some of us staff got together and we decided our tagline for the agency was going to be Services and Advocacy for an Independent Life, which spells out SAIL. As a sailor, I've always known, and as part of the independent living tenets and philosophy, it's not the amount of wind in your sails that gets you into the harbor. It's the angle of the tiller. And as a service and advocacy agency for an independent life run by and for people with disabilities, it's me and you as the person with the disability who decides which harbor you're going to and how to angle your tiller, and we help you figure that out so you come into a safe harbor and a more independent life.